worthy to be picked? Well, they say it's Fanny. Gonna be the ban. Gonna be the pick for Vamos. This one I'm very surprised with, but there was Onyx Indonesia, and then eventually it started with Falcons, and then eventually Onyx Indonesia that showed us that Fanny is actually a better pick against Rara if piloted properly.
Yeah, and I think it's because we saw it as the tail end. There is already that party response potentially to the Hirara, so maybe that's why we've seen a little bit of a change up in priority here. So as expected, because of the Valentina ban earlier by BTR, they will pick up the Belleric as the Atlas is no longer an option. But I wouldn't be surprised if you get Team Vamos to just put the down on maybe even rushing the Badang, because I wouldn't completely turn off the possibility that we'll see a Belleric suddenly swapped into the EXP lane, but they decide to go for the Blue and the Melissa, so they are leaning strongly into what BTR by Vitality are great at with their picks. I think they're playing a little bit more defensive in the draft.
Defensive in a way that they are also taking away the heroes that BTR wanted to have, especially with this Melissa. But then again, this is such a great glue game in many ways, because you know already that the Rara will be picked up, you know that there's already a Selena out there, so there's so many things that you can actually do as the glue in this scenario. So although it was pretty defensive for Team Vamos for me, I think that they have a very comfortable draft the way that they take a look at it. I feel like Errol404 is that kind of player who wants to prove that he's one of the best, if not the best, jungler in the international stage. And this time he's going to be up against Nara, an experienced player as well. And when it comes to the Fanny versus the Rara, it's never going to be a Fanny-sided affair. But if the Fanny player is masterful with it, there are so many ways that he can counter actually the Rara.
Yeah, great individual rotations, but of course that's set up as well by the information provided by your roam and your mid laner. So if ever Vamos wants to lean towards getting a little bit more faster around the map, maybe surprisingly picking up a Farsa into mid, that can be alright too, just for the info knowledge balance, because knowing Moreno, he's going to be able to place those traps in really great areas, being able to constantly read the Fanny. And that's where the strength of the Fanny that you mentioned comes from, that if it's really good, it goes really well, and despite it going up against Herrera. So the flex responses are still getting respected here by Vamos. They ban out the Cho. Moscow later on is still open in the gold lane for M.
They might just consider the Clint as well. But the Benito is not open, so they will not have that option. So they might just deprioritize that one. But there is a world where they pick up the Badang actually here for Bigetron Vitality. And the reason why I say that is because of the Fanny, but also once you cycle out the go away from the Melissa, then you have another way to approach teammates. So it's going to be the Moscow, which is one of the typical answers to this Fanny. So instead of utilizing a gold laner to counter the Melissa, they use their gold laner against the jungler. So this will be a very slow approach from BTR. And let's see if they can be successful with it. This Moscow plus the Rara, it's very demanding when it comes to the farm.
It's not going to be the speed that they're going to be going for. They go for arguably the most rushed and most loved. Although if you ask me, I am strongly a Eudora hater in this patch. Eudora gets picked up, and then the Barrett as well. So that's a very strong front line, great defense. But I think it's going to be up to Vamos to rotate really well so that Error 404 is set up.
Yeah. I think what they demand now for BTR is just support and sustainability. So if they're gonna be looking for another explainer, it's more of a meat shield. I feel like something like a Hylas actually for them, because I don't think that they have. I don't think that they have the luxury of going greedy with their rogue pick or their potentially XP pick as well. They might just go for something then the drive is sustained and Esmeralda kind of fits the bill. Still a greedy draft from Bigetron by Vitality, but you understand what they're going for. They went in for sustain. They went in for the late game as well. And they're going to be looking to survive the much faster tempo of Vamos' composition.
Well, with a very clear identity of what these two teams want to do, I can't help but have to lean a little bit more towards a lineup that has the Fanny and the Melissa, because we've seen some really great Fanny performances, and then so far this Melissa might look like it's gonna be safe. The Barrett has been an absolute tear too. I'm partly thinking that Vamos might have won this draft.
Yeah. And the reason why I would agree with that heavily, in fact, is because of what I said. This is a snowball fight metagame. This is a win early. Hopefully do not mess up your push and end the game as soon as possible. They have the tools to get to that. These Barretts, in combination with a strong mid duo of a Eudora with the blue, is such a scary combination that BTR might not be able to survive. Fortunately for them, they have a way to kind of speed up the Hirara because of this typical season Hunter Selena. So if they utilize this Hirara much faster, maybe there's a way for BTR to actually equalize the early stages, but I feel like Team Vamos has got a super duper strong early game proposition.
Speaking about speed though, and early, you might have cursed it just a little bit. Arrow 404 now has to spin around and dance to get back for the kill towards Zeke, but BTR by Vitality started off hot through Moreno's Abyssal Arrow. Bakun and Zeke now seek to regain control in the river, and this is why I said what I said, and we agreed upon it as well. It's really up to how the composition with the Fanny through the low and mid handles the center of the map. Now when you're up against someone like Moreno, who is known for being very brave with just tossing out those arrows, and the team will capitalize if he gets a good stun, well, that's what you get at the early game. But that was only one. There's still a chance Vamos will be able to prove that their lineup much earlier is way better in the turtle fight.
I think that my post-it note got blown away, and that post-it note was "Never doubt Moreno," the maestro. I think it got blown away somewhere. I can find it in my desk right now. But remind me, Renmar, to please never doubt Moreno, the maestro, once again, alright? Because this guy is amazing. This guy is very dependable. You saw how much mileage Bigetron by Vitality were able to achieve because of this barrier.
Can the Maestro do it again? Make Team Vamos dance to BDR by Vitality's tune. And so far they're going to be the ones holding priority for this turtle. But the entry with the dance as well plus the flicker now. It's going to be able to secure this turtle. BDR might get 4 kills. That gets triggered out. That's a kill. 404. But the members of Vamos now have to back off as Moreno, the Maestro, is making them dance to his tune. Kuakun could be up next, but they're not going to risk the dive. Unless I might have spoken too soon. The arrow hit! No way that gets led into a kill. It won't be a kill, but that's just a quick heat check from the Maestro.
2-0 and 2 for the Selena. Gets a double in that turtle fight, and that closing arrow actually almost prompted BTR to dive. But then again, I think the idea here from BTR is to just punish this blue. Near the stages, as a rogue blue, you don't have your ultimate, so even when you have the split, you're still very much vulnerable to any kind of chain stun. And that's exactly what BTR was able to achieve. And I'm actually surprised that Arrow 4 still went in and committed to the fight. It could have just pushed after the initial death of Zeki. But then again, BTR just punished them heavily because of their decision making. And right now, everything that we said about the composition of Team Vamos is down the drain.
Arrow 404 sent Shogun down the drain, finds him in the jungle for a quick kill. But it doesn't look like it's going to get translated into anything by Vamos. Maybe a few hits on the turret down bottom for the Barracks, and the Eudora has been sent down bot to supplement the Barracks as well. And it seems with how they're positioning, they might be looking to get a cheeky kill together 17 seconds before the turtle spawns.
This is the only way that Air4 could recover from this early game. Go for the side lanes now. I don't think that they have the absolute right to go and head-to-head collide against the BTR with this composition that they have. I mean, with the lead that BTR has amassed in the early stages, they should just split. Even Finn is a big threat. Look at this. Look at how much damage they're throwing onto Finn. Just survives. Oh!
That was everything, but here comes the Patrick Zeke. If it's not going to be taunted in by the Wrath of the Dryad, and they did throw everything towards the Belleric. And in the end, the Belleric still survives. Advantage now for Vamos. Deathless welcome. Perfect catch onto one. That's nailed down Vamos. It's finally clicking for them. The Bissolaro gets tossed out by BTR by Bivit. Will not be able to contest this turtle.
I don't know why, what's up with all of these Barracks players, but they're very sneaky with it. The reason why Cisco was able to nail that Daytona's welcome, it was because of the aggression coming up from Zeki. I'm not saying what Zeki did was actually the right thing to do. Still wasted his ultimate onto Finn, but then Cisco made something out of nothing, out of the overextension coming up from Zeki. He was able to sneak through that Rock Orsa bush. Because of that, Mael did not think that there was any kind of threat. He gets taken out by Cisco, and that's now Team Vamos recovering from the early stages.
Remember, so BTR by Big want to go after Nato in the gold lane. And Vamos is there to back up their Melissa. If you look at the dictionary and search sneaky, you will definitely not find a picture of Barrett. I gotta agree with you, man. It's somehow the players today are so... I don't want to say sneaky again, but they're really good with it. I think it's because that distance is usually underestimated by players. Like, you can really max out the Deathless welcome from far away, even without a flicker. And then you just find these really crazy angles. It's modern day show for people who love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I got you there.
Yeah, you did. But I want to say though about the defense of the white stage tricky as Moreno gets taken out. Probably not a good bonus welcome as he saw it's on cooldown.
Cisco. Oh, it's not figure out. Yeah. Now, this welcome is going to buy time for himself. But he's still going to be able to get taken down here by BTR, by Vip. And Vamos now just decide to hold on around the turtle. Fanny close by. Air 404 is at 4-1-0. The stand-up Air 4 Vamos. BTR by Vip, though, are able to push back Team Vamos. Looks good for both.
Nice, not landing. They all good with initiation. Right now, they caught the Fanny as well. Oh, what a mistake around Team Vamos. And the shutdown was there. Finn, oh my goodness. What an initiation coming out from the Wrath of the Dryad. Of course, the flicker. And they caught the Fanny with it as well. The damage coming out from there was just too much. Look at this Zeki. Unfortunately, when he popped that ultimate, that was actually his death sentence. And now BTR have won the team fight once again.
So you could hear the song playing in the background, pop that ulti like this, playing for Finn, and it was perfect. Perfect entry, perfect timing, and now BTR will have the lead into this. Air 404 wants to get his purple buff. The Nile Hirara, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be able to steal it away, but now they're going to be forcing to find a Cisco. Finds himself in a really good angle. Deathless welcome not going to be available just yet, still coming in. Just utilized. Here comes the catch, the grab, but Children is going to be able to purify. Air 404 with a shoot down onto Nile. Sweeping it out of nowhere, gets his 5th kill. Second assist. Oh, excuse me. No assist there, but yeah, he gets a 5th kill.
And the most important thing about that is that's a shutdown. That's a counter for his own shutdown just a few seconds ago. And now they might even poise to take this purple buff. Seems like they won't because of the flying clouds. And again, they took the turret in the middle, which means that they have regained the momentum. So these two teams are showing us that, yeah, surely there is the snowball that we have, but if we keep rallying against our opponents, if if you win the tug of war, then eventually they can take over the early stages. In this scenario though, we have reached the mid-game, but we don't know who's leading just yet. For now, it's Team Vamos because of the momentum that they were able to get from the middle. And if they push down the bottom, this is a lot of territorial control around the upcoming lord.
Good hold here for Vamos as by BTR will have to play through the split push Moskov up top, get a little bit more control on the other side of the map. Vamos is leading into this well. They're not just willingly giving up the towers or control around the mid. They still have to do a little bit of cleanup up top, and then they're gonna go back. They leave the barracks to get information. BTR by Vit now have a little bit of a stronger case for this lord.
It's not gonna be easy for BTR despite them having a lot of information already in here because of the turreting that was taken out, and also big push coming out from for up top. This is going to be split. And again, this is the Fanny, so he can traverse the map easily if he wants to still fight this. And interestingly, Eman actually shows himself in this Lord Dance.
Alright, Eman's already here. Airflow all the way into the orange buff. BTR looks good for them, but they are still facing the barracks. A quick -1. Rhino lands an arrow. The bring of the barracks down low, charges up. The death of the swell. I'm already seeing Zeke goes in, and it finds the Belleric. Here's a 0-4-4 with the sweep, with the dance. Zeke gets left behind. Malvo gets caught out as BTR by Vic gets pushed back. Now decides to go forward, and he gets punished. No more juggler here for Bigetron as Vamos look to get this Lord, but BTR are not going down with the fight. They are stretching this out to see what they can get. Just the perfect entry again by Finn, and Eman is free with the free hit, but Error 404 is still alive, and with a Fanny up, Vamos gets the Lord. Eman wants more, and he gets another one. Make that two, and it lands the Abyssal Arrow plus the Spear of Destruction. That could have been worse for Vamos, but BTR by Vit made magic. They got as much as they could.
A lot of important moments out there, Redmar. The start was pretty bad for BTR as they got zoned out. Even Nael, who popped these 2 iframes very early in the fight when we saw that Zeke showed himself out, Siska as well showed himself out there. And that meant that when Nael dove, which was so weird for me to see, Team Vamos was able to collect that kill, but BTR with the shot calling, I think it was from Eman because Eman was even leading afterwards, and then that flicker Wrath of the God from Finn was so nasty that it caught a member of Vamos, allowing for Eman to get big momentum shift in favor of BTR. Still the retribution on the Lord favors Team Vamos, that's why they got it, but then Eman secures 2 kills, even outplaying not for that regard.
Spirit of Destruction will land again. Eman takes it, but Vamos are already retreating. Maybe it will boil down to that, just a moment of magic from individual players, as this has already gone against the grain of what we've expected from previous games, especially the grand finals of MSC. It hasn't been snowball, it's just been a slow, as you mentioned it, tug of war. And there's another tug of war for Reno! He wanted to start things off with the Abyssal Arrow, but he gets punished. The tug of war did not favor them there. They pulled at the wrong time, and he gets punished by the Barrett of Siska.
This game is just so chaotic. It's very, very full of tension, a lot of friction between 2 teams. It's so hectic in a way that even just a slight overextension will get punished by your opponent, and your opponent can also be taken out easily because of that. Now they take the purple buff, and an important real estate lead for Team Vamos in the next minute, because this is the purple buff that will align when the Lord comes, which means that Nael will not have as much resources compared to a Fanny. And already the Fanny can just go for the split push, actually goes in for the fight. What?
Okay, you could see the vision potentially. If Eman found it, or if Error 404 didn't do that quick little hezzy and was still on the way, that Spirit of Destruction probably would have landed, but In the end, error 404 does not lose his life, but I feel like that was just a quick little heat check from him. Knowing him, he'll probably try that again, but maybe with a little bit more backup from the rest of his team. He does try it again, but he gets spotted out. He gets brought down to 50% health. BTR by Vit are playing really well with the knowledge that the Fanic can just come out of nowhere. Cisco already getting poked down. They're trying to force out the death in this welcome anything so they can build advantage. The Bissellaro without Lantern anyone, they force out the flicker. Shogun and never go forward, but it's the needles from Muddles and Melissa that's sending them back. Evan is desperately trying to stay alive, and he does. The free hit and the collapse by the rest of the team around him. Keep him safe. Glutton gets brought low. BTR by Vitality just like that. Have advantage for this Lord Wolf.
Another round of the guy, the stun! The connects with it! He's gonna be the goal wave up. I hope he can get up on the door with the first stoppage, but Moreno cannot be stopped, so is Zeman! BTR by Vitality have outplayed Team Vamos. Air 404 will be able to stay push in the middle. And that will be enough to actually stop BTR by Vitality. Air 404 gets the return on the fake wall! Air 404! Like a magician pulling rabbits out of his hat, but this is still a very, very close fight between Team Vamos and BTR by Vitality.
It isn't the snowball fest that we got used to after just one full grand finals in MSC. It's tension, it's a push and pull, and it's a little bit of magic from both sides as Error 404 from fighting to split push to eventually getting the Lord with the rest of his team. At a moment there I was wondering why it looked like Vamos were desperate and they could have just backed. Even I myself missed that little split push that Error was doing. That's what led to 3 kills by BTR by Vit.
There is a word that I want to use for both of these teams, but more so for Team Vamos. They're primal. Team Vamos, there's really not much system on what they're trying to do, but they're winning because of what Error 404 is trying to do.
Now here comes Quick, potentially getting the final fight. Error 404 fights it again, but he gets stunned. Speared into the wall, and shut down for now. Vamos still has their Melissa, and they are doing everything they can to build around this lead. It's just going to be a slow retreat before they go again for the re-engage. They still have the Deathless Welcome of the Barretts. If they decide to play it slow, they will usher in their minion waves through the bottom lane. And maybe they'll be able to get another one through this. Deathless Welcome getting charged up. He will not commit it. No catch yet by Vamos. They're not going to be able to get this turn. With the entry by Giga by Vitality, Moreno trying to find an angle. SOD lands. Here comes Eman. Nato trying to get away from all of this as BTR by Vit are pushing Vamos back. Moreno with a kill. Obviously Keith now through the clouds. It's going to be coming here. Vamos might have just bitten off more than they can chew, but it's a turnaround. Nato is free. BTR over chase. The Abyssal Arrow lands, but it will not be enough. It's a double kill for Nato. Vamos and Vitality do not want to let this go.
Giving into their primal senses, BTR trying to chase against Team Vamos. They tried to go for a kill of Nato, and with all due fairness, Eman had found the right angle for the SOD. But then again, the protection coming from Team Vamos was just pristine. The Sizga surviving for too long, and that allowed Nato to refresh his ultimate. Already has the models that actually does so much damage up against.
No way.
Oh my goodness, Error 404 is so good with the fanning.
He's able to pop the immortality. He made it look so easy. He took a bit of hits. It could have gone wrong for him, but Error 10-3-1, let's not doubt a fanning rush again because he can definitely play it. And I don't think it's really just Zeke and Clockle. Yes, they're able to supplement him, but you gotta admit, when you're seeing a generational fanning user in your screen, you have to acknowledge.
We have to acknowledge, definitely, Error 404 showing us how it's done. It's not the cleanest for Team Vamos, nor for BTR by Vitality, but they're making things happen. No immortality now for Eman. Meryl is already on his 6th death, but still is a threat for Team Vamos. They're too far away from the logo. It seems like there will be a reset for Team Vamos because they have not found where Nael will come from. It's gonna be a full swing. Air 404 might meet them. Gotta be careful of your screen drag right now, Air 404.
He sees him in the mid lane. You're trying to bait him out, but they're just too slow. He pops Moreno easily. The Selena is gone. It's 5v4. But you see Zeke. You see Lockwood. They got him hiding in the main lines. They broke the formation to start off onto Evan. Here comes Zeke for perfect entry. But the Devils want him as well. The taunt by Finn to keep the guy by Vitality alive, but they might have just delayed it. Evan is getting blasted by this Melissa. Air 404 cannot find the angle to pop him. BTR by Vic are still in this fight. They still don't have their mid laner. It's still 5v4. The models, the damage from Nagco. Vamos, they are stopping Vitality in their tracks. Finn trying to make magic and fighting an angle, but he's gonna get taken brought down low. Vitality will now back off. Forced to retreat. Shogun gets away. Vamos wins the Lord Dance.
And I know that Evan is one of the best Melissa players that we've seen just as of late, but Nagco is making a name for himself. Not the penis as well, but in that team fight, in that Lord Dance, they were able to fend off BTR by Vitality. And that was started again by this Fanny, taking out the Maestro in the middle, surviving against the flank that BTR wanted to do. Zeke himself went in for the flank in combination with the stun coming out from Clockwood that was enough to reposition the members of BTR. Just that war of attrition, the tug of war, they have won the Lord Dance.
BTR wants to build advantage for this defense. They pop the glue, but look at Nagco going wild. This is the Decimus welcome. A perfect cast by Siska. He gets snarled. Finn falls. And BTR by Vitality are delaying. But it seems like it's inevitable. Two members remain. Error, Nagco, Zeke, Siska, and Clockwood have pulled and broken the tension. They win game one. But that felt like that was one of the best games I've seen in recent memory. What the hell?
The back and forth for both teams, even in a 4 versus 5 scenario, BTR still managed to kind of make it look even, but then, just like you're always coming up from Air 404, we saw Clockwood with just the initiation. Siska, if he's able to find a good opening with the Taurus welcome, he blows the team fight wide open, but in that last fight, Nagco, so consistent with his positioning, good target acquisition, and by target acquisition, I mean, who is gonna get hit by models? That's the reason why Eman could not reposition properly, because when he tries to help his teammates, he gets hit by the models, and now he has to retreat just immediately. Everybody has to retreat from the Melissa right after getting hit by that models. And all of these little things that you add up together, Team Vamos are able to scratch their way out of a very close tug of war to BTR. What a game that we've seen.
It felt like that game for BTR by Vitality felt like, do we get the right target for this arrow? If the answer is yes, they go, they build advantage. But then the harsh reality of the lineup that they're up against, that as long as the Barrett is alive, somehow that's all the room the Fanny, the Eudora, and this Melissa need. Never would have I imagined that I'd seen a frontline team fighting formation of you get Barretts in the wings alongside the glue, and right in front of them, alongside them in the front line, is a Melissa, bro. That it knows that it's safe because it has to go away. And if you get close to the Melissa, she actually wants that for herself. Still, BTR, through some really great execution around the Roman rule and even by Eman, were able to keep this a close game. But we doubled down with what we pointed out in the draft. Vamos, their lineup, without any reach from BTR by Vitality. Yes, they have the Moscow. It's just not enough to deal with this Melissa come the late game.
The reason why we say that is because Team Vamos are just so good at creating chaos. Sometimes to their demise, but they always want to keep BTR guessing their next move. That's what they're trying to do here, especially for Aero 404. This is not a traditional way to approach your Lord guns. They slowly won it because of what they're able to achieve. And look at this. Zeki just wanted to help his teammate, moves a little too forward, gets hit by the passive of Eman, and Eman gets a double afterwards. And then Morena trying to look for an angle. You can see they're trying to retreat, but because of the models, when BTR wanted to go for a kill, they got poked so hard that now they cannot keep their control of this Lord.
Yeah, and when you play around the Moskov, and even though Vamos are playing a tight formation, theoretically the Moskov will do really well. If the rest of your front line suddenly has to disperse and back away because there's a threat of getting poked down and chunked down by the damage of this Melissa, then it doesn't help the Moskov. That's why the wins that you see Eman get for himself and for the team had to come from some crazy individual play. Team effort-wise, you actually saw that rarely in the highlights because again, you see that model, the formation suddenly breaks. And that doubles down with what you say about Vamos, with how good they are at creating chaos. That models, that little freaking doll, what's the full center point? What's the focus of that chaos in every team fight?
It didn't. What it felt like is that it slimmed down the window of opportunity for BTR when they want to go for the kills. Because when they initiate and they don't catch the Melissa, the moment that they go on attack, let's say it's Sizga or Zeki,